It's your master plan guiding you back home again as the maidens cry tears through the veils. Take your precious time, step by step, the tombs unsealed, lifetimes buried, now revealed. Feel the moonlight dance these ancient times. Step by step, you'll find listen deep. The greatest gift you can offer or receive. It's the heart that holds the map of souls. So listen deep, my dears, and step by step you will find it. Just take your precious time. Infinite blessings.
That was Kristen Hoffman, classically trained singer, prolific songwriter, composer, multi-instrumentalist, seasoned producer, and my favorite, creative alchemist for an ever-changing world, playing and singing Map of Souls, a track from her newly released album, Rain Shine. Thank you so much, Kristen, for that special opening and offering today. Hello, everyone. John Raymer of the Sign Network and I would like to warmly welcome you to the Light on Light Press book launch of Light on Kundalini, Your Lifestyle Guide to Yoga and Awakening by Karuna. My name is Sandra Simon, also known as Chamatkara, editor for the Dharma book segment of Light on Light Press. And it is my absolute pleasure to be your host for this event. Today, we will be speaking with Karuna and her guests about the book, this beautiful lifestyle guide brimming with anecdotes from Karuna's amazing personal journey, alongside the practices from the wisdom path of Kundalini Yoga that have helped her to face challenges and live a balanced life, have long, healthy, and joyful careers in modeling and acting, enjoy a deep and enriching experience of motherhood and sisterhood, and claim a seat at the table with the other people on this planet who are opening to share their lessons and gifts in service to upshift consciousness to a new paradigm. To start, I would like to introduce Dr. Kurt Johnson, one of the co-founders and managing editors of Light on Light Press, and a several-time Nautilus Award-winning author who is a contributor to Karuna's book. Hi, Kurt. It's only fitting I start with you, as this book started with you and Karuna sitting on top of a rocky mountain in a 3-week conscious dialogue that brought this project to life. Kurt, could you set the stage for how it all began before we introduce our author, Karuna?
Absolutely. So, welcome everyone. So, Light on Light has done a lot of books and we've won a lot of awards, but this is one of the most unusual books that we've ever done. So, if I'm planning to give a short and hopefully inspiring introduction before we hand this over to Karuna and her special guest, I've got to do a bit of a mad dash here in this introduction. So, in this book, we have Karuna's life as Carrie Pagano, then as Caroline Ashley, and then as Karuna. And that's not to mention her Sikh and adopted Lakota names. We have her life in fashion, where Guy Bourdin, one of France's most famous fashion artists and designers, put her image in pictures that are now all around the world in the world's most famous museums. And then we have her life in the fashion world and even in the iconic Laura Ashley fashion family. Further in this wild ride, we then move on to life in her life in theater and in film, and her adventures at the Bristol Old Vic Theater School with many actors and actresses whose names you would all immediately recognize. And then we move on to cinema, both as Carrie Pagano and Caroline Ashley. And the way that these parts of her life are fully woven into the roots of her yoga work in this book are truly masterful. So then emerges the Karuna of the yoga, spirituality, and transformative change communities, and also as a founder of Light on Light. And particularly with regard to yoga, Light on Light's annual issues on yoga around the world with the Committee for the International Day of Yoga at the United Nations. Then we also have Karuna hosting transformative content on the Evolutionary Leaders Voice America program, Humanity's Moment of Choice. And this is all interdigitated and all in one book, about which, like I just said, I've had to make quite a mad dash to make a quick summary so that hopefully you'd all be having some informative and even inspiring context. So lastly, and mostly importantly, it's my privilege to introduce Karuna. Pass the program then over to her and her special guests, who we'll just give such a warm welcome to. And just to say once again, as the epilogue in the book itself notes, how we got from 3 weeks of discussions on her back veranda, which is like living in a postcard behind the peaks of Rocky Mountain National Park, to then 300 pages of notes, and finally to this book, where all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, and has a masterful weaving of her life anecdotes with the message of Kundalini yoga and authentic spiritual awakening, is truly a miracle. So it's certainly been one of the most exciting adventures in my life. So Karuna, congratulations on your book. And so I'm happy now to pass the torch over to you, Chamatkara, and your special guests.
Oh, Kurt, what can I say? How did we do it? I mean, honestly, how did we do it? It's such a miracle that, you should be here for that time in which you suggested I write a book, by the way, everyone. This was Kurt's idea, and he said there's a great story. And so we share it with all of you. And thank you to all my guests for being here. And Kristen, I had you because you opened my heart in such a way as music always does. And I've written that in my book, and I've shared the importance. Actually, music is what brought me to Kundalini Yoga, was that heart-centered music. And it's always, as the girls know, as my guests know, Lisa and Pamela, that I was the big crybaby in the group. And stop crying, they always used to say. So I'm crying now. I'm still crying. And I'm so grateful to be here with all of you. And it's a blessing. Thank you, Kurt, for writing with me and getting my voice into this book. Thank you so much, dear.
keeping that gratitude going, with gratitude in our hearts for you, Karuna, and this book, I now turn to our first special guest today that you mentioned, Lisa Love and Pamela Hansen. Lisa is presently contributing West Coast editor of Vogue magazine and de facto their ambassador to Hollywood. Her mission has always been to represent the West Coast and its talent in all fields, including fashion, and she continues to contribute to events for Vogue, including the Met Gala and Vogue World. Throughout her career, Love has curated and produced scores of events and programs, including the CVFF fashion show held at the Chateau Marmont, presenting 10 upcoming future designers in America. She has also co-hosted multiple events for brands such as Chanel, Fendi, Chloe, Armani, Burberry, Louis Vuitton, Giambattista Valli, Ralph Lauren, Dior, Ferragamo, Marc Jacobs, Michael Kors, Parenza Schuler, and Rodarte. She was named the creative director overseeing the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures Gala. During her time at the Academy Museum, she established a new landmark annual event at the museum, raising over $30 million in 3 years. Lisa recently has worked with the Kunsthalle in Zurich on a show of photographs by David Armstrong, and through her independent consultancy office, is committed to supporting art institutes around the world in whatever capacity is needed. Pamela Hansen is a world-renowned photographer with 40 years of experience in the fashion industry. Her work is regularly featured in publications such as Vogue, Elle, Glamour, Harper's Bazaar, Vanity Fair, GQ, and W. Other clients include Estee Lauder, Dior, Netflix, Furla, Ralph Lauren, Avon, Gillette, J.Crew, Jimmy Choo, Madewell, Tory Burch, Clairol, Violet Grey, Sunday Times Style, Teen Vogue, Reebok, and many more. Her work is in the permanent collection at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. She received an award from the Association of Independent Commercial Producers for her family story short documentary, a public service announcement collaboration with a partnership at drugfree.org. Her books, Girls, Boys, and Private Room, achieve worldwide success. Lisa and Pamela, thank you so much for being with us today. It's such a pleasure to have you with us to celebrate Karuna's book.
Thank you for
Nice
having
to
us.
be here.
The girls are back.
The girl. And we're all in glasses. I love it.
Well, I'm blind with them and without them, so we're just gonna better with.
Well, do call me Carrie because that's who I am still. And I'm
To
so,
us, you'll always be Carrie.
oh, I know. And
Well, you could maybe be Lady Ashley for a minute. You'll probably never be Karuna.
That's right.
And there are a few nicknames in there too.
Okay.
To start off this chat, Lisa, may I ask you a question first?
Yes, you may.
Okay. We read in the book, would you prefer Pamela or Pam?
I call her Paita, but
Pamela's fine.
Pamela, okay. We read in the book how Pamela and Karuna met. Lisa, what was it like when you met her in Paris? What is the story behind Pamela's photo of the two of you in the book? Because that photo in the book gives me a similar feeling to the one of you and Karuna in that recent W article where you were featured.
Yeah.
I love those photos.
Yeah.
I think Paita took all those photos, didn't you?
Yeah.
I have them right here. I have all of them right here.
Well, that was much later than
Yeah.
when we first met, because Pamela was in Colorado and she said, that's where she met, obviously, Carrie. And she said, there's a girl that's coming to Paris, and I hope you can meet her. I think that was.
How did I get that message to you? Because we didn't have cell phones.
You probably called me on a real phone. Hello.
Oh my God.
Shocking. But if I remember correctly, and I don't remember anything correctly, but it's a good story anyway. I remember being on a photo shoot when Carrie walked in, and Pamela had always said, "Oh, she reminds me of you. There's some you have very similar features." Now you probably can't tell because she does too much yoga. But I was on a photo shoot when you walked in, and you did start crying.
Oh, thank God you remember that. I was in this, I lost all my luggage. I was in the same sweatshirt, same jeans, same candy shoes. I walk in, I see Lisa, she turns around and I just start bawling.
And that was when you first got to Paris. Wasn't it like your first casting or
It was
something?
like the first or second day. I don't know. Maybe it was a week later, but when we were models, we were kind of shoved on these planes, one-way tickets to Palookaville, basically, and we were dumped in a hotel, probably pretty shabby. And unlike Pamela and I, who were raised in Europe, Carrie I think it was the first time you had been to Paris, right? I'm not even
Or
sure.
even on a plane.
Even on a plane. So we were
Oh.
a little, more streetwise. And so Pamela, we kind of took Carrie under our wing, but Pamela wasn't living there yet.
No,
No.
Pamela was just overseeing my whole life at that point.
Yeah.
A
So
lot
that
of good
was the first
coincidences.
time I met Carrie, she was crying.
Yeah, as always. See, there.
And we did look alike.
Yes, we do. Still, I can see you in me.
We're part of the same, my
Tribe.
mom always thought she was Scottish, but I think we're full Irish. You're a little Italian.
Yeah, and Slovakian.
I have to ask, Lisa, Karuna kind of gave me a little hint on a story, but didn't tell me the full story about it being your birthday, but not your birthday.
Oh, I don't have a birthday anymore.
No, remember when we were in, I think it was La Coupole, and you jabbed me in the arm.
Oh, there. Well,
our birthday.
It's how we get free food. We did a lot. We were scavengers. I mean,
Lisa was the one that really taught us all how to survive in Paris.
Yeah.
She had the lay of the land.
Yeah. She had la bandouche, lay of the land.
We went to the Bandouche. We just, at that point, I had been there a little bit longer than they had. So it was like, no, it is our birthday. Yes, we are. I don't know. We would just get free everything as much as we could.
And what was that like, holding your seat and just being dumped in the middle of Paris, one-way ticket? Like, that took a lot of gumption. That took a lot of digging deep, I would imagine.
I would suggest it to any of our children now to do that. But I mean, I think we didn't have cell phones, so we weren't calling for help every second. We probably were in some situations that we had to handle a lot more than our, I don't know, people don't have to handle it so much these days because they have somebody to do it for them. But you were a little bit left on your own to create yourself, to get your jobs. There was, you had your mother agency that was pushing a little bit, but it was more, you actually went to castings then, you would show up, you would meet photographers, and all of that is done mostly online now. Pamela still has go-sees because she's old school, but mostly that doesn't happen anymore.
Nobody shoots models anymore.
Nobody shoots models anymore. Exactly. We would have no career.
Really? Who do they shoot? What do you shoot now, Pam?
Celebrities.
Celebrities, real people.
Real.
Whatever that means.
Well,
No, there's still some models, but yeah, it's different.
Pamela, in your introductory letter in Karuna's book, you talk about walking through life's challenges, as well as its celebrations as mothers and friends. The three of you, what lessons did you learn from each other along the way, especially through the ups and downs, which I know included some substantive grief and also loss?
You need your friends to survive.
you need your
Your
friends.
girlfriends to survive.
That's so true. That's so true. I would never, ever have survived. And you two were there for me all the time.
Don't cry.
And have lasting friendships.
Yeah.
Friendships, that's who you rely on. You rely on your girlfriends for safety, for support. and for honesty, I think mostly. And then the rest of the world can come in, but you can always rediscover each other 20 years later, and you're maybe still in the same place you were back then. You just pick up from where you lost that time. And we've had a lot of time between us that we haven't seen each other. So everybody's had their own stories in between, but somehow our story still survives. And that's
Well, the old stories are the
we're
ones.
continuing to be alive in your book, Carrie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being so alive in my book. My book is
I'm
all
excited to see it. Are you sending us a copy?
signed
Oh,
copy.
yay.
Yay. I'm so grateful. But Pamela, you're not jumping off yet. I need more from you.
Wait, but I just wanted, there's one story, Carrie. Did you meet this woman who has a yoga retreat in Costa Rica?
Oh, what woman?
There's this young girl that I know who's a friend of Jamie's niece who said to her mom and dad have a yoga. Elena Brower introduced you.
Oh, yes. No, Stefan and Netta and at Blue Spirit. Is that who you're speaking
They have a
of?
place
Where
in
I go teach
Carbondale
every year.
too. They have a place in Carbondale as well.
Oh, I know Deva. Of
Yeah.
course. Yes, Dave. Yes, and her husband. They're down there now, so I'll see them for the first time. I've only just met her with Elena, actually.
Yeah,
But
her
I'm happy
stepdaughter is
to.
we spend a lot of time with. That's what a small world it is, okay?
Oh, that's. Tell me more, Pam. Tell me, how are you? How are you?
Good. Really good. Well, so you're
Good.
going down to Costa
I'm
Rica
so
now?
I'll go down on Saturday for my annual. It's my 14th year going down there
Wow,
to teach.
that's amazing.
It's a good time. That's where I met Kurt. That's how I ran into Kurt Johnson there.
There you go.
What, 14 years ago?
That's a good
Said,
story. That's a
here
good
we
place for
are.
you. That's got good energy for you and Giselle.
Oh, Giselle.
Giselle's another famous Costa Rican.
I thought she was Brazilian. Oh,
She is, but she has a place down there.
Speaking of Giselle, she's a big yogi as well. And since I've never touched my toes, I am probably.
Oh, you actually tried Kundalini, didn't you? You tried Kundalini for a while.
You were
We were
friends
Well,
with
I mean, I had Gurmukh. I tried yoga. I would say whether I was doing it properly or not. I did. I mostly fell asleep in class. It was the only time I could fall asleep, and I fell asleep, especially at the end. I still can't touch my toes.
I don't know, Lisa, you might be a natural yogi. When I was reading that W article and you had given the advice about the parties, don't be a bore, and for God's sake, write a thank you note. I'm like, that's it. The key to life.
I would tell everybody, and I think my daughter's in New York with Pamela right now, and I just say, you can't waste your time and other people's times by going, because I give events all the time, so just you have to come home with some piece of information, some wisdom, or even a salt and pepper shaker. If you have to steal that, take it.
I have so many of those at home from you. Thank you.
Knives and forks. I still have the knives and forks from our apartment in Paris.
La Coupole.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, wait, I have to tell you a story. So when Pamela did finally move to Paris, thank God, we would go sit in cafes and I would be like leaning in to have a conversation with Pam, and she's like, shh, I'm listening to the other person's conversation. I'm listening to the other table's conversation. Well, it's like, oh, is that what we do? Okay. But just listen.
And sometimes she would answer them too.
I know, it's a terrible habit and I still do it, just so you know. I'm like, can you believe what those people just said? Jamie's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I mean, I think they sold their house for a lot of money. It's in Bridgehampton. We should. Yeah, that was fun.
So, hey, when I come and stay, you get me on my sheepskin and I get to teach you yoga, and we do that together,
That's
don't
true.
we?
We have done some sessions right here on 22nd Street.
Do you
You
still
have to
call
come
her
back
Lucky
and visit.
Pamela?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Do you still call her Lucky Pamela?
Yeah, that was her nickname. Every time I think of luck, I think of that. That was her nickname. Such a good one.
Such
Her
a
other nickname is
beautiful.
Fruit Loop. That's what my husband calls her. She's like a Fruit Loop because she's always so peppy and
Colorful.
colorful.
I love your husband. Very colorful. You guys, I'm so honored to open my book with and see you in it next to my children, Emily. Well, you are the godmother of my son, by the way.
I know, but you got to put me back in touch with him. I've been very remiss. I feel terrible. And I'm a good godparent, so
Well,
put us back in text. Put us in
okay,
text.
perfect.
Okay.
He will be very happy to receive you. And
I want to get to know
yes,
him. It's been a minute.
You are going to love Tomas and Emily. I mean, both of them.
I know. Emily, I see on Instagram, so that's always really fun. I feel like I know her a little bit. Okay.
I have a lot more
I'm
serious
excited about seeing the
talk about.
book. Congratulations.
Thank you so
Ashley.
much to both of you for your presence in the book and also your presence in Karuna's life and on this launch today. We are super grateful to have you here. And if you'd like to just say one closing word to Karuna, we would love that before you hopped off today.
Stay lucky. And congratulations. Love you.
You are. Bye. And you have much more serious things to talk about now. So
Yeah.
I'll try and listen in as I have all these other things to do, but.
Love that. Can I just say
Thank
one
you
thing?
guys. Oops.
Well, there goes
I
Pamela.
miss you guys, and I love you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, what a wonderful conversation, Karuna. What a pleasure
I
to
want to
meet
thank
you, and Pamela.
I want to thank all the audience for enjoying that experience of what it's like to really let yourself go into that space of unity and grace, like we do with Kristen and her music, and bringing all that together again is, from so long, such a long 40-year relationship, that we still need each other. Like Pamela said, we need each other. And we continue to grow and mature and be together in this way. And we never, ever, ever forget to include and to embrace and to invite each other. And so the whole audience out here, I want to acknowledge you, the ones on Facebook. I want to acknowledge you and say thank you for being a part of that reunion with me and Pamela and Lisa and this whole, and Kurt and Sandra and everyone, and Emelina and Kristen, everyone who you're going to meet now. Let us continue. Thank you.
On that beautiful note, Karuna, we are delighted to have a pre-recorded opening message from Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, who wrote the afterword in your book. Sadhviji is a renowned spiritual leader, author, and motivational speaker based in Rishikesh, India. She's the author of #1 best-selling memoir, Hollywood to the Himalayas, A Journey of Healing and Transformation. She serves on the United Nations Advisory Council on Religion and the International Partnership for Religion and Sustainable Development, as well as the Steering Committee for the Moral Imperative to End Extreme Poverty. Savaji has lived at Parmath Nikatan Ashram for the past 26 years, where she oversees myriad humanitarian programs and serves as a unique female voice of spiritual leadership throughout India and the world.
It's so wonderful to be with you together today at this launching of Karuna's beautiful, beautiful new book, Light on Kundalini. And Kundalini Yoga and the practice of yoga in general is that which brings light to our life. I am so sorry I can't be there with you at the exact same time, but due to time differences and travel and all of that, I am so happy to be able to at least share this video message with you, because I've seen in my life and in the life of so many the light that yoga brings us, not just in our bodies, but actually in our minds, in our hearts, and that it connects us with the very truth of who we are, that it actually gives us the light through which we see that unity, that oneness of ourselves with the divine and with all of this divine creation, not just one with the Creator, but one with the creation. Every leaf, every tree, every drop of water, every species on this planet, in the universe. That oneness pervades all. And so yoga is that which actually treats and cures all of that afflicts us today, whether it's individual suffering, depression, anxiety, loneliness, addiction, whether it's the conflict between us, in our families, in our communities, in our nations, between us and this beautiful earth, environmental destruction, climate change, all of that. Yoga's the answer, because yoga is that reunites us. We say, the word yoga means union, but I actually think of it as a reunion, because we've never been separated. We just forgot. And yoga reminds us of the union with our highest self, our truest self, which includes all of creation, the entire universe. And through the practice of Kundalini yoga specifically, we have that ability to access and anchor ourselves in the subtle energy that streams through the physical body, but not just the physical body. That energy system that actually touches and transforms every aspect of how we think, how we feel, how we live, how the physical body-mind complex moves through this world, interacts with this world. And through that power of the energy, we have the ability to experience the very truth of ourselves. And it's so beautiful to be with you today. I know that our brother Kurt, our sister Denise are also there. And together, for so many years, they've been working with Karuna, with their team, to really bring the power of the fullness of yoga, not just the asanas, but the fullness of yoga to people in the Western world. And it's such a joy to join you all and to be together on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day.
What a blessing. Very beautiful blessing. Let us take our hands and bring them together at our heart. And let us feel our sit bones come seated. So situate yourself where you can sit. Let's do a little practice on the depth of what we're feeling right now for the world. And I want to really, really go into this with you. Okay. I want you to have an experience that we can change the mindsets. We can rewrite our vocabulary on kindness and compassion, with compassion and love. And then open these fingers. Take the middle index and Jupiter and splay them out like a lotus. Bring pinky together and thumb together and bottoms of the wrists together. This is lotus. This is Adi Shakti. This is you opening up into you. As Sadhvaji spoke of bringing wholeness into yogic practice. No need to think one must touch their toes any longer. No need to stop because we can't hold our arms up for a certain amount of time. It's not necessary to do so. See it right here. Look into this lotus. As you open your palms, look down over the tip of your nose and see the Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Namo, Namo, Sarva Shakti, Sarva Shakti, Sarva Shakti, Namo, Namo. Pritam Bhagavati, Pritam Bhagavati, Pritam Bhagavati, Namo, Namo. Kundalini, Mata Shakti, Namo, Namo. I bow, I bow, I bow, I bow, I bow, I bow. These messages are universal. They come from your heartbeat where your wrists are sitting in front of your heart right now. As you open and visualize, each one of us visualize peace, no war. This is yoga. This is prayer. Buddha said suffering leads to compassion. We have to make something out of nothing, zero. Scraping through the bottom of the ocean to bring the life forms back up naturally, going into the forest, listening to the wind, feeling the frequency of the divine feminine, the Adi Shakti, Namo Namo, calling it in, the Ra 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 Ra, Ma 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 Ma, Rama 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 Rama, Satanama. It is the architect of the foundation of each one of us, and it is our responsibility to sit tall. 3 minutes is all it takes to change your magnetic field, to bring it home to you, to listen more deeply. We are the change, and we have to be willing, as my dear sister said, to come back together and forgive and love more deeply. That all we have is each other. We're designing a new paradigm. We're opening a frequency, a vibration of the Aquarian age together, only together. Bringing your palms back together, I honor each and every one on this planet Earth. The four-legged, the winged ones, the plant kingdom, and all those that creep and crawl and fly. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. We bow to this infinite wisdom within us. This Ad Gade Name, Jugad Gade Name, Sad Gade Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name around each one of us to protect us and to walk as Titnahan always said, one step, breath at a time. Many blessings. And I pray we can send these messages to each other always. Thank you.
And speaking of these messages that we send to one another, now we have the pleasure of Diane Marie Williams joining us through a pre-recorded video. Although not able to be here today in person, she wanted to make sure to mark the occasion of Karuna's book launch and also her recent induction into the Evolutionary Leaders. Diane Marie Williams is the founder and president of the Source of Synergy Foundation, a nonprofit organization that creates opportunities for synergistic engagement. Diane was the co-initiator with Deepak Chopra of one of its main projects, the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, that aims to inspire, support, and serve conscious evolution. In 2004, she initiated the formation of the NGO Committee on Spirituality, Values, and Global Concerns at the United Nations in New York, where she served as the first chairperson.
Greetings, everyone. I wish to congratulate my beloved friend Karuna on the launch of Light on Kundalini, and much gratitude to Kurt Johnson, Bob Atkinson, Sandra Simon, and the Light on Light press team for publishing this amazing lifestyle guide to yoga and awakening, and to the fabulous John Raymer and everyone else that supported this program. As I mentioned in my endorsement, this book that reached #1 in yoga books releases on Amazon is truly a gift that keeps giving. Karuna has provided us with a yoga of everything guide filled with history, advice, exploration, practices, and every imaginable dimension of the yogic lifestyle that can equip us with everything we need to awaken more deeply to our divine destiny. While reading her book, I felt like I was receiving a sacred activation that inspired me to reinvigorate my own yoga practice. And thank you for this blessing, dearest Karuna. We are also thrilled that Karuna has recently accepted our invitation to join the Evolutionary Leaders Circle of the Source of Synergy Foundation. Your life's work, dear Karuna, has truly embodied evolutionary leadership, and we know your wisdom and expertise add so much to the evolution that is taking place right now on our planet. In essence, both yoga and evolutionary leadership share fundamental, transformative values, principles, and practices of intentional growth that align individual well-being with collective progress, helping to create a more conscious and connected world. Both are rooted in the idea of fostering interconnectedness, developing self-awareness, and cultivating compassion and balance to create positive change, whether that's personal, organization, or societal change. The word yoga in Sanskrit means to join or to unite. And we know that studies have shown when one practices yoga and mindfulness, this often leads to more thoughtful, informed decisions and actions that can more consciously impact the broader environment and our global community. Scientific research has proven that yoga and meditation have an influence on the brain's ability to recognize and form new neural connections, which leads to changes in our brains that enhance mental, emotional, and physical well-being, including enhancing our compassion and empathy, clarity and focus, helping us get in tune with our self of purpose, as well as our resilience and cognitive functioning that can all grow with regular practice. The treasure trove presented in Light on Kundalini will help us all that are fortunate to read it, to remain grounded and solution-focused as we navigate uncertainty and change in our own lives and in our world. And speaking of the world, I know, Karuna, you have given your pearls of wisdom as a member of the International Day of Yoga Committee at the United Nations, which is led by its wonderful chairperson, Denise Scotto. This special day is observed by the UN and around the world on June 21st each year. It celebrates yoga's power to transform and recognize the ancient practice's unmatched power to deliver healing, inner and outer peace, and physical, spiritual, and mental well-being that enhances people's lives and the wider community. And on a special note, in 2023, the committee helped to organize a huge event on the lawn of the United Nations headquarters in New York that created a Guinness World Record for participation of the most nationalities ever in a single yoga session. So that was very special. And Karuna's contribution to the International Day of Yoga Committee, as well as the Evolutionary Leaders Yoga and Spiritual Practice Synergy Circle, and so many other groups have made a huge difference through the vast wisdom and practical practices she has so graciously and generously offered. I want to encourage everyone to get a copy of Light on Kundalini and its companion yoga manual. It will change your life by taking you on a profound journey to explore your inner world. I co-facilitate with Jean White Eagle and John Parison the inner focus group of the Contact and Conscious Evolution Synergy Circle of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. We have experienced firsthand how inner focus can help us reach deeper levels of communication and contact with those in non-local and multidimensional realms of existence. Doing yoga, mantra, silence, and contemplation, they all can take us to this special place. We can all receive and send information from the greater consciousness fields by tapping into dormant capacities, higher abilities, awareness, and universal wisdom. These practices play a key role in supporting us to go through the major shifts in mass consciousness and worldviews that we are experiencing. On a personal note, I want to thank Karuna for being a true example of what she teaches. Last summer, I was experiencing a challenging time with the recent loss of my beloved father and some other life changes. We were in Portugal together, and when she saw any of our traveling companions having a challenging moment, she would get us to breathe together or do a practice that completely transformed us in any situation we were confronted with. I felt the same loving support as I was reading Light on Kundalini. I believe all of you listening in will feel this same loving support as you read this special book and its companion manual. I know both will bring so many blessings into your life. Thank you again, dearest Karuna, and everyone at Light on Light and John and all for manifesting this special book and companion manual into form so that we can all benefit from these very sacred gifts and blessings. Thank you so much.
Well, well, well. Thank you, Diane Marie Williams. So grateful for that teaching in itself. It's all a teaching we share, isn't it? Chamakara, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We've been working together on this journey, you and I, dear sister. You've been really bringing questions forward. We've posted Q&A, which could be a third book, actually. We just have been discovering more and more depth of yoga through our beautiful Swami Shraddhananda's beautiful ashram, and and Swami Prakashananda, and all these beautiful people that are bringing forth this wisdom as you are in this grace. I want to thank you, Chamakara, for all you've given us in your time and making time along with your full-time job. Thank you.
It is my absolute pleasure to assist, and that's what you were talking about earlier this week. You and I were talking about service, and that's what all of you and everyone in the evolutionary leaders, we're all finding different ways of being of service, and this book I know will be of service to many. So it's a pleasure, my absolute pleasure, to stand at your side throughout. And to continue some of the lessons that Diane Marie Williams was speaking about, it's now my pleasure to introduce our next special guest, Emelina Corrales Cordero. Emelina is a marine biologist, poet, yoga teacher, and mindfulness leadership coach from Costa Rica. As a member of the Order of Interbeing in the Plum Village tradition, she brings mindfulness and spiritual connection into every aspect of her life and work. With a deep love for the ocean and a passion for empowering women, Emelina inspires others to explore their inner world with curiosity and courage. Her work combines the wisdom of science, poetry, and contemplative practices, creating spaces for profound transformation and growth. Today, Emelina is honored to share her reflections on this remarkable book, celebrating its exploration of Kundalini and its potential to awaken deeper self-awareness and connection. Emelina, thank you for being a special guest today for this book launch. We're so happy you could join us.
Thank you very much for introducing me, and it was really a pleasure to get this invitation from Karuna. And what is really interesting, is that I was seeing Lisa and Pamela in the beginning, and they have been friends for very long. Karuna and I, we actually met this year. So it's been a very recent friendship. And I think in the other side is really beautiful to know that our sisterhood community continues to grow. And we meet different types of people. And in that process of growth, in that journey, we are meant to find different types of souls in our path. So it was really touching to see that. And there is something that is really funny in the story of Karuna and I. When we met, my name is Emelina, and the name of my husband is Tomas. And the children of Karuna are Emily and Tomas.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Oh my God, that's so true.
So it makes it really, really cute. And those are kind of the things that happened. Diane was talking about Karuna being in Portugal, and she was almost about to be in my house right after we met. So it's just the way we construct life, in this beautiful present moment, and how we manage to access that spark.
And not to lose it, right, Emelina? We could have definitely moved past each other in Ibiza and missed the opportunity, but our beautiful Laura Rose invited us to dinner on the first night we arrived in Ibiza, and Tomas and Emmanuel and everyone, we joined together, and Emelina was sitting at the other side of the table at the corner down there, and all of a sudden, here she comes, moves the tray at the restaurant, pulls up a stool and sits on it and stays with us, closer to us, because these connections are like that.
Exactly. And I think the connection also is a recognition of the light in the other one. And I think, as a yoga practitioner as well, I've been a yoga practitioner, a Zen practitioner. I mean, I think a spiritual journey practitioner more than a specific tradition. But what I really see is that when I saw the name Light on Kundalini, I was somehow seeing a Iyengar giving you some light, and because he wrote the book Light on Yoga, so it really, it's kind of also this notion of continuation in a tradition, and continuation of having this relationship past, sometimes there are many teachers that we don't meet personally, but we have them in the process. And they come and they just transmit their light, In the Plum Village tradition, I'm not a Dharma teacher, I'm just ordained in the tradition, but in the tradition, when somebody becomes a teacher, it's called the lamp transmission. And the lamp transmission happens because you are giving a light that you're going to be sharing with others. So I really, when I saw light in Kundalini, the name in itself, it really reminded me of this possibility of working as a match to spark the light in other people. So actually, I really enjoyed the name to start with, as you can see.
As you were talking about connections and parallels, how do you see parallels between your journey supporting individuals and organizations discovering conscious, authentic paths and Karuna's work with Kundalini Yoga?
I think Karuna really embodies with her life the process of a spiritual journey. And what I do with the people I work with, it's really coaching, it's supporting them with specific issues, with their specific problems, but it's really the most important part. It's to be able to see the real authenticity. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about real authenticity of someone, it's not being in the logic that you're better, that you're worse, or that you're equal to someone. We are all unique beings. Each one of us. And when we can really identify that uniqueness, then we are able to transcend. And I think we need kind of a collective work of finding that uniqueness and seeing how we can put that uniqueness into service so that we can have the society that we all dream of. Mm-hmm. So our spiritual journey and the individual spiritual journeys, I can see the spiritual journey of each one of you. I can see that little flame. And if we have enough flames like that, our societies are going to be completely different because our values are going to be completely different. So I really believe that this journey of Karuna is the journey. It's a journey that is unique, and it opens the door for many people to follow it. And it opens the match for many candles to be lit in the hearts of people. And I think it's the same thing with me. We have different ways of working, we have different ways of transmitting, but we need as many matches and lights to make this happen. Because this is the way in which we're going to have a beautiful planet. I said I'm a marine biologist, so I love ships, I love ocean, I love journeys, I love traveling. I enjoy meeting people, coincidence, and love. But this is what we need. And the journey of Karuna is a journey of a person also supporting other people and calling to more for becoming what they truly are.
There's the key right there. We're so grateful for you. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining us. We're so, so grateful. Sandra, you want to take us out?
Absolutely. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam, dear one. Sat Nam.
On that note, as we all sit together, us together as guests, and everyone who's watching in the village that Karuna talks about in her book, Light on Light Press, Sacred Stories, the Sign Network, Karuna and I want to warmly thank all of the guests and those who have tuned in to today's launch for Light on Kundalini, your lifestyle guide to yoga and awakening. It has been our pleasure to bring this beautiful book into the world with you and into the hands of those who may need it. It is currently available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. and its upcoming companion, the Light on Kundalini Yoga Manual, published by Light on Kundalini, will be available very soon. Again, thank you so very much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure to celebrate Karuna's book launch with you, and we very much look forward to seeing you again soon. So please have a safe and wonderful holiday season, and let's always remember to stay in touch.
Thank you all so much. So much love and gratitude to all of you. May peace prevail on this planet Earth. Thank you to all my guests. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Emelina and Sir Kurt. How can I bow deep enough to you? Thank you, Sandra Chamakara. Thank you, John from Sign, and thank all of you. I love you all. Seriously. It's what I do is I love. So Satnam, blessings, happy holidays. So grateful.
My dears, and step by step you will find